Yes, it appears it's Halloween once again. The holiday of spooks, specters, reasons to give kids candy, and the perfect excuse to play the most horrific of horror games. This works too if you need a better example. But surprisingly, there are very few video games that are specifically about Halloween. The only one that comes to mind is The Nightmare Before Christmas, Ogre's Revenge, but that's for another year. As this game, well, check it out for yourself. Pumpkin Jack, released October 2020, published by Head Up Games and mostly developed by one person, Nicholas Messoniak. I am so sorry I probably butchered that up. The man put 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears into making this game, which would eventually release for 8th gen consoles and PC. I heard of this game through a boss compilation video. It piqued my interest, so I gave it a fair shot. So, does the game leave a haunting impression, or is it better left to rot with the other pumpkins in November? Well, believe it or not, it's actually a pretty good game. So, imagine if Jack from Billy and Mandy decided to go emo, serving the devil himself to keep the world in pure chaos. That's essentially Pumpkin Jack. Bored of the purity of the world, the devil plagued the world in darkness. The humans call a champion in a last-ditch effort to save the world. So, the devil calls a champion of his own, the infamous trickster, Jack. Now, Jack must defeat the champion, known as the Wizard, and keep doom and gloom to forever taint the living world. It's a nice change of pace being able to play as the villain this time, the end of the world actually being your goal this time around. I haven't seen that since the Overlord games, and let's be honest, how many of you remember those games? The story has a good blend of serious and goofy, not afraid to call itself out when it wants to on certain game tropes. I will admit, it got a few laughs out of me, and it was kind of interesting seeing how the plot would try to grow outside of its concept. The story is pretty good, perhaps only serviceable should the jokes not land for you. I'd say it's pretty gored. Get it? Pumpkin, good, gored.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, I get that a lot. One possible downside is the little voice acting this game has. And keep in mind, it is an indie game, and not all indie games have voice acting. In this game's case, only for the narrating cutscenes in between levels. Otherwise, it's grunts and sound effects, which I personally didn't mind. The rest of the presentation was way too good, and I mean really good. Levels look unique from each color and look hauntingly beautiful, striking with color and stellar set pieces so you won't forget what you just played. But the real star of the show is the music. This is an amazing soundtrack, from spine-chilling choirs to the frantic event themes and the sweet boss themes. It fits the Halloween aesthetic and then some. You really should listen when you get the chance. Well, I ran out of adjectives. Better get to the gameplay. Pumpkin Jack is a 3D action platformer, with you needing to traverse the level, defeating enemies, solving puzzles, and beating the boss at the end. Do this 6 times and you'll doom the world. Yay? To traverse the world, Jack can double jump and climb on ledges specified by a rope on them. Platforming can only get you so far, especially with its sort of floaty controls in midair. Granted, you will get used to it, but it is something to note when you get started. It may cause a few deaths. But then again, you can only get so far, until the creatures of the night go after your head. In some cases, quite literally. To defend himself, Jack has a dodge roll to avoid attacks, as well as a crow projectile, useful for enemies and barricades unless shielded. On him at all times will be a melee weapon, a shovel at start. After each level, you acquire another weapon, each one with unique skills and, well, attack styles for your preferred playstyle. A scythe, a spear, a sword that makes you float in the air, Each one looks cool. It even comes with a different walk cycle for Jack. You don't get many combos, except for to mash 3 to win, but each weapon is like a different combo, with an aerial slam for each style, and certain weights to each weapon depending on what it is. I should be peeved about the lack of combos, especially mentioning them in past reviews, but Pumpkin Jack focuses more on its platforming and puzzle solving, so it's not a huge deal. There will be times you're swarmed by enemies and have to defeat them all, but that's really the only part of the game that drags. I thought that would have been the puzzles, but they made them cool in themselves. Jack removes his head to solve level-unique puzzles, like a Tombstone memory game, color patterns, and these were really fun to solve. Not the most complex, save for the Tombstone puzzle, but why can't you say you killed Santa Claus? Twice. Okay, yeah, we should probably move on. Along with level-unique puzzles, each level has its own unique vehicle segment. Except the first level, where you escape a barn on fire. From racing against knights to reach the gate, to flying on gargoyles soaring through the forest. Just avoid the debris and knock down barriers on your path. It's a great break from normal gameplay, and helps each level feel that much more unique to one another. It sounds like the levels have a lot put in them, especially since most levels take 30 minutes to finish. But thankfully, the added segments actually help the levels feel smooth. It's a nice transition in between them, and thankfully, at the end of each one, is a boss fight. I know that's probably not that surprising, but I needed a clever segment. It's all about recognizing their attacks and learning when and how to strike them down. And, for lack of a better way to say it, these boss fights are fun and thrilling. There wasn't a single boss I hated, from their cool designs to the music behind them. These might be where you die the most though, unless you pick up on their strategy fast. And yes, the game keeps track of how many times you died. Jerks. But is there any reason to come back? Is there any incentive to replay the game again right after you finish? Well, unless you like what you played, I hope you like cosmetics. There are 2 types of collectibles to find in the levels. Hidden in each level is a gramophone, where Jack shows off his monster mashing skills, and that's it. It's amusing to watch Jack dance, but a shame it doesn't seem to offer much else. The other collectible, Crow Skulls, are a different story. In each level there are 20 skulls, about 180 to be precise about the total, and should you find a merchant, or if you're not willing to go that far, you can just do it on a title screen, you can use them to purchase new costumes for Jack. From a pumpkin skeleton, a lumberjack, and a detective, these are really cool outfits and perfect for anyone who wants to go for them. It seems like 100% is tied to achievements, which the Switch lacks. And yes, I did play the Switch version for this game. But the costumes are a nice reward to make me explore the levels and give them a good comb over. But that's really all I can say about Pumpkin Jack. It's not trying to be the next Mario Odyssey or whatever PlayStation decides to boast about next, but this game proves you don't need to go overboard for a good time. Just a little I've explained in this game just really sells this game in a nutshell. It may seem like an overpriced experience, $30 for about 5 hours unless you're going for 100%, but being developed by one person is still an incredible feat, a notion similar to another favorite game of mine. But for as little as I have to say, I really enjoyed my time with Pumpkin Jack. This honestly has potential to be a franchise, to keep going and explore more territories. I honestly hope it does. And should it, I look forward to the next adventures of Pumpkin Jack. If you love 3D platformers with a hint of combat and puzzle solving, Pumpkin Jack might be up your alley. It's no Resident Evil or whatever horror game sensation comes next, but it might just be the thing to cure your Halloween needs. Which, speaking of, have a happy Halloween everybody, please stay safe if you go out there, and if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go lament over how I can't ask strangers for candy. Why do we like this holiday again?
Ooh, you Rangers make me mad! Waking me up with a rap that bad!
Oh, that's why. Hey, look at that. I'm actually right on time. Phew, thank goodness I didn't want another schoolgirl situation. But in any case, everybody, thank you so much for watching this review of Pumpkin Jack. Maybe next Halloween I'll review Oogie's Revenge, but I really felt like this would be the perfect game for this year. Either way, I hope you look forward to what happens next. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.